another week full of learnings and events here in Real Estate IQ. And I know that a lot of our clients and social media followers are looking forward every week for our live stream events. I know that today is a Monday, but of course, I want to thank everyone who is here viewing from Facebook, from StreamYard, and from our YouTube channel. Thank you for being here, and we are also excited for you to learn about today's event or about today's topic. That is why also today we are hearing your requests and hosting this event together with a special guest that we will meet later. Before that, I would like to remind everyone that if you want to get a recording of this event, make sure that you register through the StreamYard link so it will be emailed to you right after this. And while we're on that, why don't some of you who's watching this, for our viewers from Facebook and YouTube who's watching this, comment below where you guys are from or how did you hear about this event? Because our team would really love to know and would really love to get to know everyone who is in this event watching right now. All right, so if you have time, you can type it in the comments. All right, so to kickstart this event, let me run you through a quick introduction. Hi, I am Sophia, your host today, and we are Real Estate IQ. We are a one stop solution to all your real estate needs. From custom mined data to events to real estate education, we all have it here. We are your partner in winning real estate deals through automation, skip tracing, and deal finding. All right, so moving on to the highlight of our event, our speaker for today is someone who has mastered the playbook for success. Being in the industry for almost a decade, he has founded his own business venture and has paved the way for others to become successes of their own through his coaching. That's why, for everyone, let us virtually welcome Brent Mott. Hello.
Can you hear? I can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Are we? I've got a slide deck loaded. Are we ready to go?
Yes, yes, sure. I'll give you all the stage is yours. So
Perfect. All right. So I am not as familiar with Streamyard, but I think I've got this figured out. So let's dive in today. I'm going to talk about building your real estate portfolio. Um, so let's just dive into that. So this subject matter is for educational purposes only. Hopefully, there's some entertainment purposes in there as well. I am not a lawyer. I am not a CPA, and I am not acting as your financial planner. You should always have all of your contracts, taxes, business plans, etc., reviewed by an attorney and/or financial advisor before completing any real estate transactions. So that's the legal disclaimer. More importantly, I'm going to talk about a lot today when you're considering how you should build your real estate portfolio. I can't tell you what you should do, but I can help you ask the right questions so that you can decide what you should be doing in your real estate portfolio. Thank you, Sophia. My name is Brent Mott. I've been investing in real estate since 2010. I've been doing it full time for a little bit over a decade. July of 2014 is when I quit my full time job. I started coaching and mentoring in real estate investing in 2015. I invest in both single family residential and commercial real estate with partners. I have 24 self-storage facilities, 4 medical office buildings, and we are in the process of building 3 apartment complexes, as well as a lot of single-family residential. I manage about $40 million of investor capital. We're going to cross $250 million in assets by the end of the year. And most importantly, I'm really passionate about helping other people along their real estate journey, and that's why we're here today. So, the fact that you're here tells me that you're already interested in real estate. So I'm going to remind you of why you're so smart and probably beautiful and handsome as well. But let's just go over it. First of all, diversification. The first thing that we ever learn in real estate or in investing in general is we've got to diversify. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket, right? I also love that real estate is hard assets. Even if there's a fire, my real estate cannot go to zero. A stock can go to zero. Other investments can go to zero. Real estate cannot go to zero because there's value in the dirt. I've got insurance on all of my properties, so if something did happen, then there would still be value there. It's a great hedge against inflation. We've seen record inflation over the last 3 years. So it's good to have something that's going to be a good hedge against that. So with rental properties, what happens to my rent with inflation? Rents go up. What happens to the value of my assets? They go up. What happens to the debt? My debt stays exactly the same. So I get to pay back today's debt with tomorrow's dollars. I also get to use leverage, which I absolutely love. I get to use other people's money. I get to use the bank's money to help me grow my assets. I get cash flow. I get cash flow every single month on the assets, and that's what a lot of people look for. But what I love is the growth in value. I am a long-term hold investor. I love growth. Also, as a real estate investor, I get very, very favorable tax treatment. All right. So the government incentivizes investors to do the things that it cannot or does not want to do, like housing its citizens. The United States government is not equipped to house its citizens, so they give us favorable tax treatment and things like depreciation, maybe some tax credits. There's lots of ways that they can incentivize us to be real estate investors. All right. So I think it's Einstein said that compound interest was the most powerful force in the universe. Something really important for you to know and understand as an investor is the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is kind of a back of the napkin math. How long will it take me to double my money? Okay. So, like a math equation, you can move things around. So, if I want to double my money in a certain amount of time, I divide 72 by that number of years, and that'll give me the rate of return I need. Or if I'm getting a certain rate of return, I can divide that into 72, and it'll tell me how long it'll take to double my money. But one of my goals is I want to double my money every 5 years. So I divide 72 by 5, and that tells me that I need a 14.4% annualized rate of return to double my money every 5 years. Now, StreamYard won't let me present this as a normal PowerPoint, so my next slide is going to lose some of its luster because it's going to give away the ending at the very beginning. But I recently started playing golf. I like playing golf. I'm not very good at it. But let's say that I was going to go play golf, and somebody wanted to bet on the game of golf. And say, you know what? I'll just give you $20 now, and we'll call it good. No, let's make it interesting. Let's bet on it. It'll be more fun. So let's bet 10 cents a hole. Okay, 10 cents a hole. I'm okay with losing 10 cents a hole. I'm at peace with that. But to make it more interesting, what if we doubled the bet every hole? Okay, if I could do this bullet point by bullet point, it would be a lot more intriguing. But it loaded all my bullet points at once. So after 10 holes, it's $50, which is more than I'd want to lose on a given game of golf because I don't like to gamble. Gambling stresses me out. If I win, I'm relieved. If I lose, I'm angry. I just don't like to gamble. It's not something that I enjoy. But $50, I mean that's more than I want to lose on a bet. But if I let that compound and compound and compound, doubling for 18 holes, 10 cents turns into $13,107.20. That's a lot more than I'm willing to lose on a game of golf, right? But let's apply this to real estate instead. Okay. And it's a lot more fun. So doubling your money in real estate is a lot more fun. Okay. So let's say that we had a real estate investor that had $50,000 to invest when they were 30 years old. Okay. If that doubled every 5 years, that's going to be a very, very attractive retirement at 65, which is normal retirement age. I think it's funny that we have a normal retirement age. Retirement has only been a concept for the last 2 generations. The term retirement actually means removed from useful service. Luckily, I love real estate, so I don't have any intention of ever retiring. But let's say, for this first 35 years of this investor's investing career, they were focused on growth, like me. And they were chasing that 14.5 or 14.4% internal rate of return so they could double their money every 5 years. Well, let's say they get to this retirement age and they say, you know what? I want to slow down a little bit. Maybe at this point, I'm willing to give up a little bit of upside potential for a little bit more security and a little bit more cash flow. So let's say instead of going after more growth opportunities, let's say the 65-year-old investor decides, I'm going to invest in a cash flow opportunity. That 6.4%, or excuse me, that $6.4 million at 8% interest would pay out $512,000 annually, or almost $43,000 a month. It's not a lot, but you could probably live off of it. You could survive. And the beauty is, if we're only living off of the interest, not the principal, you'll never run out of money, and your heirs will inherit $6.4 million. That's a really, really cool thing. That's a really great way to leave a legacy. All right, so there's a couple ways that we can get involved, that we can get into the real estate game. We can be active investors or we can be passive investors. I'm both. I'm an active real estate investor. I want to be a passive real estate investor when I grow up. So active investing requires your time. It requires your energy. You're the one going out and negotiating with sellers. You're the one that's out finding the deals. You're the one putting it under contract. You're the one managing the contractors. You're the one managing the tenants. Okay. So active investing requires you being active. Your time, your energy, your effort. Okay. There's lots of benefits to being an active investor. If you're an active investor, you get the best deals. Okay, if you're going straight to the source, you're going straight to the tap, you're going to get the very best deals. Okay, your return on cash investment can be higher. Okay, so if I'm going to wholesale a house, I can go get it under contract for $10. Okay, and I can sell that contract for $10,000. All right. I can go and make a lot of money based off of a small capital investment. I've bought lots of rental properties with less than $10,000 because I was the one finding the deals. Okay, so the amount of cash you need can be minimal. You can get in as an active investor with little to no money. It can be very fulfilling. Most of my deals end with a hug and a thank you, and it's a great place to get started. All right, this is a great place to get the resources necessary to become a passive investor. Where I learned how to be an active investor was through texasreas.com. If you want to be active, I highly recommend attending some of their events. They have incredible education, as well as Real Estate IQ has incredible education as well. All right, so passive investing is where you get to leverage your resources. You get to leverage your capital. Okay, you get to put the money to work that you've already worked for. Money is a phenomenal employee. Money is a terrible boss, but a great employee. You get to leverage your expertise. You get to leverage your bankability. You get to leverage other people's time. So often when we get into real estate investing, we hear OPM, 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 other people's money. For me, I would rather invest using other people's time. Two resources in life: time and money. I can make as much money as I want to make. I can't make any more time. So, as a passive investor, I get to use my money to buy my time back. So, there's lots of benefits to being a passive investor. First of all, it's in the name, it's passive. You get to realize the fruits of past labor. You get paid for work that you did yesterday, right? You get your time back, right? You get your life back. You can let your money work for you while you work on your passions. Also, as a passive investor, we get very, very favorable tax treatment, especially if we're leaving our capital invested for longer than a year. Um, each one of the passive investments that we talk about, each piece of your portfolio is going to be taxed differently, and you need to talk to your CPA and tax professionals and tax planners about how those are going to impact you specifically. Um, and the biggest benefit, like I said, it's passive. I love getting paid not to work. It's incredible. All right. So, the whole truth about passive investing, it does require some work and management. It does require expertise or at least knowledge of the investment. Um, you need to invest in what you know. So I invest in blue collar workforce housing. I invest in self storage. I understand that. I understand that people are always going to need a place to live. I understand that Americans are going to have more stuff than fits in their house. Okay. That being said, like cryptocurrency, my cousin likes to invest in cryptocurrency. I don't invest in cryptocurrency at all because it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. I'm not saying it's not a good investment for you. I'm saying it's not a good investment for me because it doesn't make sense to me, right? I understand the blockchain. I get what that is. But for something to have value, there has to be scarcity and there has to be utility. Okay. So, scarcity, I get the blockchain provides some scarcity. There's only so many Bitcoins that can be made, but then we can go and make another coin. Okay. So that pokes holes in the scarcity for me. Also, the utility isn't there yet for cryptocurrency. I know it's something that we're working on. And again, I'm not saying cryptocurrency is something that you shouldn't invest in. I'm just saying it's not a good fit for me because it doesn't make sense for me. All right. And I'm here to help you make the best decisions for you. I can tell you what's a good decision for me. I can't necessarily tell you what's a good decision for you. My cousin invests. He loves cryptocurrency. He likes to gamble. That's what he does for fun. Do you remember the Dogecoin, the dog? Well, when Dogecoin came out, he said, "Hey, I'm investing in this Dogecoin thing. You need to invest in Dogecoin." And I said, "No, it doesn't make sense to me." And he bought $300 worth of Dogecoin and sold it for $30,000. Phenomenal return. And he came to me and said, "Don't you wish that you invested with me?" And I said, "No, because it wasn't a good investment for me. It would have been a pure gamble for me, and I am not a gambler." I'm very happy for him, but it wasn't a good fit for me because it didn't make sense. If you're a gambler, gamble. I'm an investor. I invest. So even if I miss out on an opportunity, first and foremost, I've got to sleep at night, and that's just not an investment I wanted to make. Okay. As passive investor, the rewards can be great, but there is always risk. There is no such thing as a risk-free investment. If anybody ever tells you there is a risk-free or guaranteed investment, run away. There is such a thing as personal guarantees, but there is no such thing as a guaranteed investment. A personal guarantee means that you can go after their other stuff or their credit if they don't do what they say they're going to do. But that does not make it a guaranteed investment. Every single investment carries risk, including not investing. Not investing, I think, carries a lot of risk. If you're sitting on cash and we've had record inflation like we've had, your purchasing power has gone down significantly. Every investment carries risk, including not investing. It does require a good network. For a lot of the deals that we invest in, you literally have to know somebody. To invest in commercial real estate, you either have to be an accredited investor, which means that you've got $1 million net worth, or make $250,000 a year as an individual, or $350,000 a year as a married filing jointly couple, or have a securities license. So that's what it takes to be an accredited investor. Or you can be what's called a sophisticated investor. A sophisticated investor has an education in the asset class and a pre-existing relationship with the deal sponsor. So for a lot of these investments, you literally have to know somebody. So you have to have a great network. Also, when you invest in real estate passively, you're investing in the deal, but you're also investing in the person running the deal, right? There's a term in horse racing, you're betting on the horse and the jockey. I don't know what that means when it comes to racing. I don't like to gamble. I don't know how to pick a horse. I don't know how to pick a jockey. I don't know how to pick either one of those. All right. But I know what it means in real estate. I'm investing in the deal itself, the asset, but I'm also investing in the person running the asset. So I have to analyze both before I make an investment. And finally, you have to understand the underlying math. It has to make sense to you. So I like to look at my real estate investment portfolio as my passive investments as a full portfolio. So I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of investing in real estate is diversification. So I get to diversify from traditional assets, but I can also diversify within real estate. There's lots of different investments that I can make within real estate. So first of all, there is no such thing as anything risk-free. There is no such thing as a risk-free investment. Never, ever, ever, ever. If anybody ever says it's a risk-free investment, run away. Right? I was responding to a chat that popped up. We'll address all the questions at the end. All right. So different types of strategies that we can look at as a passive real estate investors. We could look at private money lending. So private money lending is loaning money to someone that's doing a fix and flip. All right. We can look at note buying. So note buying is buying debt. Okay. Buying an income stream. That can either be short-term note buying. When somebody makes a private money loan for fix and flip, we can buy the note and collect the interest payments from that. There's also long-term note buying. So if you can go in and buy someone's mortgage. Okay, when we buy that debt, we're buying a monthly income stream. We can do buy and hold. So I love owning real estate. Buy and hold is my favorite strategy because I am a growth and wealth investor. I love buy and hold in both single family residential as well as commercial real estate. We can owner finance properties. Owner financing properties is a very passive way to invest. It's one of the more passive ways to invest because we give up a lot of the responsibility as soon as we sell the asset. It's a great cash flow strategy because there are no expenses related to owner financing. There is no property management. There are no repairs. You don't pay property taxes. Your expenses are very, very low, right? So your cash flow is very, very high. That being said, we give up all of the upside potential. We give up all of the growth and sacrifice for cash flow. Is that a good investment? I can't tell you what's a good investment for you. Okay. If you're looking for cash flow, it's a great investment. If you're looking for growth, it's a terrible investment. So it all depends on what you're looking for for your real estate portfolio. All right, we can do a wrap. A wrap is a form of owner financing where we use an underlying mortgage to create that. And then I mentioned I'm a buy and hold investor, but my favorite thing to invest in is commercial real estate syndications. So, commercial real estate syndication is just pooling together funds to buy larger assets. All right, so that's all that a commercial real estate syndication is. All right, so we've got a couple of different ways that we can invest. Okay, we can invest as debt or we can invest as equity. When we invest as debt, your return is stated, okay? Not guaranteed, stated, okay? It's pre-negotiated. Your return comes from points and an interest rate, okay? Points aren't technically an origination fee, but they look like an origination fee. It's technically prepaid interest. So you get points up front and then an interest rate that is quoted annually but charged monthly or daily. You get your principal back before anyone else gets paid, and you get your profit back before anyone else gets paid. When you invest as equity, your return is projected. Okay. Your return comes from the profitability of the investment. You get your principal back before anyone else gets paid, but you get your profit back when everyone else gets paid. When we invest as debt, there is more security. When we invest as equity, there is more upside potential. Okay, what is more important to you, security or upside potential? You've got to make that decision for you. I can't tell you what's the right decision for you. So let's put some numbers behind that so we can actually see what this might look like. So if we were going to buy an $100,000 house with an ARV, which stands for after repair value, what will the house be worth once it's fixed up? That means, so for those of you that know with real estate, when we buy a fix and flip, we want to buy at 70% of the after repair value minus the cost of repairs. Okay. When you do math at the front of the room, you get to make the numbers really easy. All right. So if you want to make more complicated numbers, I suggest you start talking, but I'm going to make my numbers really easy. So on a $100,000 house, 70% of that is $70,000. Okay. And that is the maximum that I would loan as a private money lender, is 70% loan to value. So 2 points would be $1,400. And let's say this was a 6-month project at 12% interest. That means that if I'm charging 2 points and 12%, that means I'm going to get $1,400 up front and then $700 a month for 6 months for a total of $5,600 profit. Okay, that's a good day. Right? If I invest as equity, that same $100,000 investment, 70% loan to value, if it's a 50-50 profit split and I have $10,000 in closing costs, that means that my $70,000 investment made $10,000. Okay. I have higher upside potential if I participate as equity because I'm participating in more of the risk. I'm participating in more of the volatility. Okay. So if I can make 10,000 or 56, why would I take the 56? Because what happens if the house only sells for $90,000? Okay. Well, now that $10,000 profit split, 50-50 is only $5,000, right? So we participate in more of the upside potential, but we also participate in more of the volatility of the investment. All right. So as you're looking at your real estate portfolio and what is a good fit for your real estate portfolio, there's certain things that you need to consider and look into. First of all, what is your level of risk tolerance? Ultimately, you have to sleep at night. Okay. If you are somebody that is very, very risk adverse, maybe investing in treasury stocks or an annuity might be a good fit for you, where you're willing to give up more upside potential for more security. It all depends. We've got to think about, how do we mitigate risk? Okay, how do we eliminate risk when possible? Right? How can I get an asymmetric reward for the amount of risk that we take on? Okay, how do I get more reward than the risk that I'm looking at? And that is something that's really nice about real estate in general, is it can provide asymmetric rewards for the amount of risk taking on, because real estate can be a risky investment, but it also provides a good deal of security depending on what you're doing. What are your needs? What is the job of your dollar? I mentioned money makes a really, really good employee. All right. Is the job of my money to cover my expenses now? Or is it the job of my money to grow to cover my expenses in the future? And speaking of the future, what is your timeline? When do you need your passive investments to start paying for your lifestyle? That's eventually the goal, is to have your passive investments pay for your lifestyle. Something else that you have to consider is, how passive or how active do you want to be? I mentioned earlier, I want to be a passive investor when I grow up, but I also enjoy the active side. But I like to make that decision on a deal by deal basis. So you've got to decide, what do you want your business to look like? What do you want your investments to look like? And finally, what do you want your legacy to look like? Real estate is a incredibly, incredibly powerful tool for creating generational wealth. So one of my favorite quotes is, if you don't come from a rich family, make sure that a rich family comes from you. And that is something that I am definitely in the market to do. I did not come from a rich family, but I definitely want to make sure that a rich family comes from me. So in thinking about my long-term legacy, that's one of the things that I really, really look for. All right. Sophia, will I be able to address all of these questions at the end? Will we be able to bring them back up? Hopefully we'll be able to address all the questions at the end. If not, I'll ask you to retype them. All right. Okay. So, like I mentioned, I can't provide specific advice. Okay. I can't tell you what you should do, because I don't know you. I don't know your specific circumstances, but I do want to introduce you to some people that I know, and kind of talk about how they make their real estate investment portfolio decisions. So this is me and my wife, Judy. So I'm 39. Um, I'm gonna leave my wife's age as 32 until it starts to get weird. I don't know what point that's gonna be, but I'm just gonna leave her age at 32 for now, because that's her business. We are real estate experts. We both know a lot about real estate. So we've built a large real estate portfolio together. My background is more in the single family and commercial space. Judy's very experienced in private money lending. We earn a high income. We are active business, and the businesses that we invest in pay us a very high income, which means I don't need my passive investments to pay for my lifestyle. Okay. That is why I bring that up, is because my needs, I don't need my passive investments to pay me now. Okay. I need my passive investments to grow. I have 26 years until traditional retirement, the 65, where you get a gold watch and they kick you out to pasture. I don't believe in that. That being said, I plan on being able to retire long before I'm 65 years old. But we have a long runway. We have a long timeline. Okay. So that means two things. One, that means that I've got time to grow. Two, I can keep a small portion of my portfolio that that I'll take on a little bit higher risk exposure than I normally would because I have a long runway. I have a long time to make up for it. So we can invest in real estate at three different stages. Okay, we can invest in stabilized performing assets. Okay, those are going to cash flow really well. Those are at market rent, at full occupancy. Those are going to appreciate with inflation. It won't outpace inflation, so that's not a good growth investment, but it's a very secure investment and a good cash flow investment. Opposite end, I can invest in non-performing assets. This is going to be things like land development or assets that are entirely mismanaged and making no money. Those have huge upside potential, but little to no cash flow. In between, we have underperforming assets. Underperforming assets are performing under market rent, under what's considered full occupancy, right? That's a good combination of both. So most of my investments stay in that, in underperforming assets, but I keep a very small portion of my portfolio in non-performing assets and taking those two performing assets because those have great upside potential. And I'm willing to take a small piece of my portfolio that has greater upside potential because it has a little bit greater volatility, but I look for asymmetric risk reward scenarios. And part of why I can do that is because we have a long runway. If I have to work 26 more years, I can. Okay. We have an incredibly strong desire to leave a legacy. As I mentioned, if you don't come from a rich family, make sure a rich family comes from you. I would say if you asked me what is my level of risk tolerance, if you just stopped me in the street and said, how risk tolerant are you? I would say I'm not very risk tolerant. But I do invest in non-traditional assets, meaning I invest in things other than stocks and bonds. Because of that, I have to say that my risk tolerance is moderate. My primary focus is on growth. Okay, I am looking to grow my investments. That is what I look for when I make my investment decisions. So I invest mostly in buy and hold, both single family, residential, and commercial. I'm looking for long-term holds that I can get great appreciation out of. I am more concerned with appreciation, growth, and value than I am in cash flow. I'm not going to turn down cash flow, but when I make my investment decisions, I'm looking for growth. Okay, so this is Trip. You might hear him in the background. His mom is feeding him before she puts him down for a nap. But Trip is 10 months old. He's a professional model as far as the IRS is concerned because my company pays him for modeling service every month. He's a little bit of a kept man, so he doesn't have very high monthly expenses that are, well, they're covered by me and Judy. He's got a long time to traditional retirement. He loves to laugh. He loves to learn. He loves to have fun. His risk tolerance, he just learned to, well, he's been crawling for a few months now, and he is very interested in stairs. So I would say his risk tolerance is pretty high. His primary focus is on growth. So for Trip, we invest in a couple of different things. So Trip has an overfunded life insurance account that we pay into every month that will allow that to grow. That's what we're using instead of a college fund, is overfunded whole life insurance, which is an incredible product because it gives a lot more freedom than a traditional education savings account, which Trip also has an ESA, education savings account. We use that to plan for private school, not for college for him though. But in that we put in properties that aren't cash flowing well, but have great upside potential. He's exclusively in single family because he's 10 months old and doesn't have enough money to invest in commercial syndications yet. We'll sell some of his rental properties when he's a little bit older and get him into some of those. This is my Tita. Technically, it's my wife's Tita. It's my wife's grandmother. We're going to list her age as retired. Okay, we're just going to leave it there. She has moderate real estate experience. When you get to a certain stage in life, you've just bought and sold a lot of houses. So she has moderate real estate experience. None of it has been in as investment. It's all been just primary residences. She has a nice nest egg. And Tita's risk tolerance is negative. She has nothing to do but sit around all day and watch the news and get pissed off. She is very, very concerned. Her primary focus is on protection. Don't lose money. Okay. Because her primary focus is protection and she has a negative risk tolerance, real estate probably isn't a good fit for her. Okay. Now, we get to pick our poison. All right. The risk by choosing not to participate in risk, by choosing not to participate in investments, she's exposing herself to a different kind of risk, which is inflation risk, okay, liquidity risk, that her buy purchasing power risk. Every decision we make has risk. Okay. Jim Rohn said, if you think that investing is risky, wait till you get the bill for not investing. Okay. But again, this is just how she decides to make her investment choices. I can't tell you. It's not the right fit for me. Might not be the right fit for you, but that's how she makes her decisions. All right, this is Jack. So Jack actually helps me with my overfunded whole life insurance. I recommend having a conversation with him about that. We can get you his contact information as well. He set up the policies that Judy and I use, as well as trips. But Jack is educated in real estate and he wants to be a little bit active. He's got a very, very successful career. He's a very successful entrepreneur, and real estate is a part of what he does. It's not primarily what he does. Jack and his wife Tasha both earn nice incomes. They've got a long runway to traditional retirement. They have a strong desire to leave a legacy. Their risk tolerance is moderate, and they're focused on growth. Okay. What Jack invested in is that overfunded life insurance that we talked about, as well as buy and holds. Okay. Jack, because he likes to be a little bit passive, he really likes to do buy and hold in the single family space. He uses a strategy called the Burr method, where he takes a loan from his overfunded life insurance account, buys a property at a discount, rehabs the property, rents the property out, and then refinances, puts the money back in his insurance policy that he uses as an overfunded bank account, and then he goes and does it again. So that's how he makes his investment decisions. He loves the aspect that he gets to be a little bit active, all right, by managing the rehab and doing the deals, but he's primarily passive. All right, so this is Terry. Terry, this might resonate with some of you. Terry is in his second career. So Terry retired, and it didn't stick. All right, it didn't take. He was very successful in the oil and gas field, and retired and got bored. So he became a real estate investor. And Terry is an expert when it comes to real estate investing. He loves the wrap strategy. He knows more about owner financing than just about anybody I know. He's semi-retired. This is a second career. So Terry is already retired, semi-retired. He doesn't have any kids. It's just him and his wife, and Terry knows that there's no hearses with a luggage rack. All right. So if he doesn't have anybody to leave money to, growth isn't a huge concern for him. So he's very focused on cash flow. He wants to turn his investments into cash flow today because that's what he lives off of now. And because he's very focused on cash flow and doesn't necessarily care about growth, those wraps and owner financing that we talked about earlier are an incredible fit for Terry. Right. This is Kirby. This is my mother-in-law. Kirby worked for a company for almost 25 years and got laid off just very shortly before your 25th anniversary with the company. Really unfortunate. She wasn't quite ready to retire, um, but it was thrust upon her. She's got some side hustles that she does. She has 4 grandbabies and loves being a KK. That's her grandma name. She loves doing that. She has a nice 401k. It's not what she wanted it to be, okay, but she has a nice 401k. Um, uh, she has a very, very low risk tolerance. She got that from Tita. Her primary focus is don't run out of money. Okay. So, good investments for her might be doing something like buying private money notes from a professional lender. Things like an annuity might be a really good fit for her because they're good on security, but they also provide some cash flow. All right. This is my mom. My mom was forced into early retirement. She was a nurse for 40 years. Incredible nurse. She had osteoporosis, so she got forced into retirement. Um, uh, my parents, neither one of them planned for retirement. Um, it just is what it is. Our education system is broken. Um, they didn't plan for retirement. My mom has Social Security. It doesn't cover her expenses. So the only Airbnb property I have is the duplex that she lives in. She lives in one. I use the other as an Airbnb. It generates enough cash flow to pay for the mortgage for both sides, so my mom gets to live for free. I do not like Airbnbs. It is a very active business. I do not like operations businesses, but I do it for my mom. So my mom had a surprise 401k, meaning uh, when she retired, she found out that she had $200,000 in a 401k. I don't know exactly how that happened. She was with the same hospital for 40 years. I think she had a pension, and 30 years ago, it converted to a 401k. She never intentionally contributed to it, but after 30 years of compounding, it was $200,000, which is a really, really good surprise. Does anybody want to try to retire on 200 grand? It's going to be tough. Okay. So my mom had conflicting goals. Okay. She didn't have enough for retirement. Okay. So she had priority number one was grow the money. Priority number two was don't run out. Okay. And like I said, those are conflicting, but my mom had a backstop, and I'm not willing to be anybody else's backstop. So for my mom, and I would never recommend this for anybody else in her situation because I'm not going to pay for anybody else if this doesn't go well. For my mom, we invested in a development project, high risk, high reward, higher risk than I would normally recommend, with a very, very high reward, tripling that money in a very short period of time. So I took $100,000 and did that, and then I put her in 2 different commercial syndications that were moderate, risks. So, and then that money, once it tripled, then I put that into cash flowing secure investments like private money notes. Right. So that's what I did for my mom. And then this is my cousin Josh and his wife Ashley. He's the one that likes the cryptocurrency. Josh is a great guy. He enjoys gambling. That is his hobby. He's not a degenerate. He's not gambling away the mortgage. That's just what he likes to do for fun. If you want to go to WinStar in Oklahoma, he's got a system in roulette. I'm sure he'd love to teach you how to do it. Both very, very successful. Both earn very high incomes. They're interested in real estate. They want some real estate exposure. They've got a long runway. They recently had their first baby as well. Their risk tolerance is pretty high, and they're looking for growth. But because he likes the thrill, he likes the upside, development is a really good option for Josh because that's not the biggest part of his portfolio, but he loves the upside potential and everything that goes along with that. So, hopefully, getting to know some of these people in this brief introduction was helpful for you as you're thinking about, who resonates with me, who do I think my portfolio, or what combination is the right fit for me. Um, if you want to scan this QR code, this is going to take you to BT Capital, which is my website, and you can sign up to be a part of the community. Whenever I have opportunities to invest with me, or I also have a really big network. If you're looking for investing opportunities at all, anything interesting that comes across my desk, I put out on this as well. So thank you so much for your time. I know that we had several questions come in. Sophia, can
Yes.
you? All right. Oh, there's a lot in here. So let's come in. Okay. So Charles says, what's the top thing to have if I want to be an active investor, like my capital? So the top thing is if you want to be active. So I mean, there's the great thing about real estate investing is there's not one right way to do it. There are wrong ways to do it. But what are some of the top things that you need? You need mentorship. You need an education. I highly recommend checking out that texasreas.com. Real Estate IQ also has phenomenal education available. Um, hop in on things like this. Also, Real Estate IQ is crucial for my active business. That's where I get my leads. I love their lists. So you need access to motivated sellers, and you need education on how to monetize once you have those motivated sellers. All right. I still don't get that you can use other money and time to invest. Like when you start out, you won't have any resources and money to do all the things right. So as a you can't, if you're dead broke and you don't have a two pennies to rub together, you need to go to networking events and tell people, hey, I've got sweat. I'm willing to put in time. Um, it's some combination of time and money. If you don't have time or money, you're gonna struggle. All right. If you don't have time or money or want to put in sweat equity, it's going to be really, really hard to break in. So it's a combination of probably time and sweat, which is where I started. And then you grow that to money. So you can either partner with people that have resources that you go and you put in the boots on the ground work to get started. But if you've got a small marketing budget, I would start off with a real estate IQ list and start knocking on doors and start calling. Smile and dial, baby. That is a great way to get started. And then you can put a property under contract with a $10 option fee. And then you can turn around and wholesale that contract for $10,000, $20,000. You can make good money there. Yeah, there is no such thing as a risk-free investment. If you I think there's a recording available if you register. Sophia can give you more information on that.
Yes. You can get a recording if you register through the StreamYard link.
Perfect. So register and then you'll get the recording. Um, 60K a year here, debt or equity. Would like to hear whatever about debt to equity ratio you use for your deals. So for me, I am 100% equity. That is, and again, I'm not telling you what you should do, but kind of the profiles that we talked about. I've got a long road runway. Hi, have a good nap. All right. Sorry, my little boy's going down for his nap and he wanted to say goodnight. Um, so for me, because of my runway and my desire for growth, I'm a pure equity investor. When I start looking for more security and cash flow, that's where I will be looking for more debt investments. Residential or commercial for first time investors. I browse through some lead list and I think the focus a lot on residential. So it depends on what your needs are. Commercial real estate will make you more money. Residential real estate will make faster money. Okay, so if you want to be active in commercial real estate, don't plan on making money for about 5 years. Okay, it's a long path in commercial real estate. Residential real estate has very low barriers to entry. Commercial real estate has incredibly high barriers to entry. Right. On the way to find my first deal, do I work for a job? Say, uh, just starting things out. Awesome. You're in the right place. Just wondered what the optimal way to fund my first deal. Do I work for a job to save the for FHA loan, or I learn wholesaling and try to make money like many others doing? Um, uh, so the first real estate I ever bought was with an FHA loan. So uh, I bought a triplex for $290,000 with an FHA loan. I only had to put 3.5% down. So I got to be and I lived in one of the units. So I got to live in a nice 2 bedroom apartment in a nice part of San Antonio for under $200 a month. And it was around $10,000 at closing. So, uh, if you need to keep the lights on, and I mean, this is I can't, I don't know you personally, so I can't give specific advice. I don't know what your income potential is. I don't know what your earning ability is. Um, uh, if you're going to be a full time real estate investor, I would be able to survive for 2 or 3 months without income. Okay. Um, uh, Being an entrepreneur carries risks. So if you don't have a way to fund your life for a few months without income, I might go get a job. I might go get a job at Starbucks or somewhere that I could go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, be done at 10 a.m., and then put in another, you know, 40 to 60 hours a week after that. When I was first a full time real estate investor, I put 60 hours a week into my business. I worked, it can, you don't have to have capital, but it's a combination, it's some combination of time and money. Heard that you must own a lot of rental properties before you can actually scale up your portfolio. Um, I mean, that doesn't hurt anything. I have a lot of real estate, a lot of rental properties in my portfolio, but I also have a lot of commercial real estate in my portfolio. Um, some people could have a lot of private money loans in their portfolio. Yeah, it's all about growing. All right, Sophia, I think that's all of our questions, and we're right at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, all
I
right.
timed that perfectly.
Yeah. Well, Brent, well, this has been truly a wonderful event, and we have learned so much, a lot from you. And I'm sure the viewers also has learned so much from your session, from your webinar. So thank you so much for gracing us with your time, and also to all our viewers from Facebook and YouTube. We'd like to thank you also for being with us and attending today's webinar. So, as a simple thank you for our viewers out there, we are offering special deals for you once you fill out this survey form to help us improve our next events. We will be giving out free sample leads for people who will be filling out this survey form. So maybe we could just take 5 seconds to scan this QR code in our screens and give us a feedback on how we did for our event. And of course, more than giving you access to these
free leads, we are also inviting you to join our buyers lists and filter through the market depending on your preference, whether it's safe financing options or anything. And we want everyone to and for everyone watching this, you can also comment your emails. You can also give us a message also if you want to join our buyers or lenders list. All right, if all of this sounds good, I think we can end our session here, Brent. Thank you again so much for gracing us with your time, and we hope to partner. We hope to see more of you soon, and that's about it. Thank you so much, Brent, and you
My
have a
pleasure.
great day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.